Hi everybody, welcome back to MD Fly Fishing. What I like to fish at this time of year are blobs and fabs. Quite easy to fish. These are the many colours that you can have, and this one is my favourite. Nice green with a hint of silver. You've got brass in it as well, which gives it a little bit of weight. Easiest way to fish them, floating line and a long leader. Minimum 14, 16 foot. A single blob or fab on the point, and you can bring it back in long strips, 12 inch, 12 inch, 12 inch.
Well,
you can do a quick figure eight, stop, another figure eight, stop, varying the times of the figure eight. You can mix and match, cast it out, let it settle, give it 4 or 5 seconds on the surface, figure eight it, stop, 12 inch strip, 6 inch strip, 4 inch stop, and just continue the motion. Now there's two specific ways to fish this that I do. I'm not going to go into them at the moment, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to do a little bit of fly fishing, because many a time people that fish bungs will see a trout come and hit their bung. In a way, you've got orange, you've got yellow, you've got red, multicoloured on the surface, moving or static. The fish will go for these, or even on the drop. Cast it out, let it sit there, let it sink down, and as it goes through the layers, the strikes can be ferocious. So as I said, I'm going to do a bigger video on this later in a couple of weeks time, but this is how we tie my favourite one.
get in there. Like that.
So what I use for all my blobs and fabs, size 10 wide gape hook, brass bead 3.8, and on this occasion I'm using a UV yellow, quite a thick thread, about 1/4, and tie it down, snip off the excess and create a base from a hook shank to the back of the bead. What you need now is some blob frits, various colours. What I'm using today is a UV silver, and I basically get a good 4 inch of it, pull off the fibres on one end so you've just got the inner core, and then tie that inner core close from the bead to the hook shank. Once you've secured the frits down, what we simply do now is wind the frits from the base of the hook towards the bead, tight as you can, and as you're doing so, wet your fingers and push the frits to the rear. Now the frits has an inner core, so you'll feel it butt up against each other as you gradually get closer and closer to the bead. Now it'll look a bit of a mess, but don't worry about that, we'll sort that out and it'll all get neat near the end. Just keep it nice and tight and get it behind that bead. Once you're up against the bead, tie it down with a few turns, get a sharp knife, cut off the excess frits, brush back the remaining frits, and then I spin the thread to make it nice and tight, and then I tie it down. Once you're happy with that, a little bit of super glue on the thread directly, and then tie that in behind the back of the bead, and then once you're happy with that, whip finish, and that's you done. Covering the straggle on the hook with your fingers, you can use a lighter to burn off any excess straggle that's come forward over the bead, but basically that is your blob finished. There's other ways of making blobs. You can put a lead core on them, but I like to use the bead because it adds a little bit more colour to that fly, because you can change the colour of the beads, but I usually stick with silver or brass. And this is a deadly pattern, and as I said, in a couple of weeks time I'm going out and this is all I'm going to fish on an intermediate line, 16-foot leader, and on a floating line with a 16-foot leader. And I'll show you the two methods that I use, and they both are pretty deadly. Easy fly fishing to get some nice fish. Thanks very much for watching everybody, and I'll catch you later.